in the MC2, which is the WhatsApp chat of Mr. Charles Carlson, it's that these are missed calls. And Mr. Mogotsi further says that he deleted them in his WhatsApp because they were missed calls and he saw no significance in having them. Now, Chair, further, Annexure MC2, which will be Mr. Charles Carlson's WhatsApp, which is the WhatsApp that comes without any calls or emojis being deleted. The first page, which depicts the 9th of March 2026, it will be page 35. Chair, what I want to submit is that if the Commission looks right on top of the chat, there's a word there that says nose. And there's a time that says 8:56 a.m. Now, Chair, with that, my submission is that even Mr. Charles Carlson has not brought the entire conversation between himself and Mr. Mogotsi. With that little that appears, it's evident that there's been some discussions prior to the one of the 9th. Now, Chair, my submission with regards to that is it prompts that messages that come prior to that, which are conversations between Mr. Mogotsi and Mr. Charles Carlson, also be looked at. Because there's nowhere in the affidavits, both of the applicant and that of the first respondents, that makes reference or gives the Commission an explanation as to what was discussed prior to this date of the 9th.
But Mr. Mogotsi is the applicant and is the one who's suggesting impropriety. If by the lack of texts or the fullness of text in this regard, you want to make some point with regard to impropriety, is it not so that as the applicant, Mr. Mogotsi should have told us what's happening there?
It's true, Chair,
Yes,
but then
yes,
it takes away this impression that has been created that Mr. Mogotsi is the one who reached out to the evidence leader, and this happened on the 9th.
But don't the calls that I referred you to earlier show that it is he who appears to have reached out? And in addition to that, I think Commissioner Baloyi took you to the detail of what actually happened, and also lack of denials by Mr. Mogotsi in his replying affidavit with regard to who actually initiated all of this. So your point cannot stand. Do you remember that engagement by Commissioner Baloyi?
Yes, I
And when Commissioner Baloyi made specific reference to what is lacking in the replying affidavit with regard to allegations made by the chief evidence leader. So I don't see how you can make the point you are now attempting to make.
Based on your instructions, in the founding affidavit, the whole of paragraph 6, it sets out the heading is detailed factual basis for application, and Mr. Mogotsi speaks only to the 9th and 10th. So those are the relevant facts, that what he says are the relevant facts for purposes of this application. And if you line to, MC2, the first call is on the 9th of March, is at 8:56 p.m. Can you see that? Because this thing has got dates on it when communication started. So you've got two things. On Mr. Mogotsi's facts that he relies on for this application, he selected the 9th and 10th to speak to. And then the WhatsApp that you've referred to, in fact, records what happens between them from the 9th. So what happened on the 8th, Mr. Mogotsi didn't consider it to be relevant. He hasn't placed it before us.
In addition, look at 6.3. There is specific reference to 20H56, and indeed you do see the 3-minute call at 8:56. So Mr. Charles Carlson's focus is there or relates to that timeline. So that's why his focus and additions of what are missing from Mr. Mogotsi's chats focus on that timeline. So you cannot fault Mr. Chaskalson by not saying anything about the nose at the top, appearing at the top. That would be very unfair. His attention has been drawn to 856, and then he focuses on that timeline. Do you follow? Do you follow what I'm saying?
I do follow, Chair.
Yes, yes. Can you continue with your submissions then?
Chair, further, there was an issue that was raised by the second respondent regarding the contents of Mr. Mogotsi's affidavit with a further postponement when Mr. Karim was giving testimony.
.10 on page 14 and 6.20 on page 17. Because I had a question there also. What should we make of that? If Mr. Mogotsi himself says, I gave Mr. Chaskalson this information in order to engineer a postponement of Mr. Karim's evidence. Because that is serious interference with the work of the commission if you are giving evidence leaders misleading information and your intention is to engineer a postponement of a witness who's in the witness box and giving evidence. So as you deal with that point, can you please address that?
Will do so, Commissioner. In reply to 6.10, read together with 6.11, these are events that transpire whilst Mr. Mogotsi is trying to get information or whatever evidence that the evidence leader can use. And now my submission on that is that he mentioned the health department tender, which is contained in paragraph 611. And he also mentioned Mr. Maumela and Suleiman in paragraph 10, hoping that in light of this information, he might go and get an opportunity to get more information that was required from him, from the evidence leader. That is how I understand this.
No, he doesn't say that. He says, I did this deliberately to encourage him to postpone Suleiman's testimony, as I was already concerned about the Commission's treatment of me and its focus on issues outside its mandate. He does give a reason why he engineered that. He was trying to engineer postponement in favor of Mr. Karim.
Ms. Momani, look at 6.10. He says he began by suggesting that Mr. Chaskalson should ask Mr. Karim about a meeting that took place between himself, Maumela, and Suleiman. And then he says that meeting never took place. So he lied when he said there was such a meeting. And then he says, I did this deliberately to encourage him to postpone Suleiman's testimony.
And he further, Commissioner, says, as I was already concerned about the Commission's treatment of me and its focus on issues outside its mandate.
Yes, so my issue is, why would he mislead the evidence leader about a meeting that never took place? And him saying under oath that he did so in order to engineer the postponement of Mr. Karim's testimony.
The answer to that question, Commissioner, is on the last two lines of that paragraph. He says, he was concerned about the Commission's treatment and the focus on issues outside its mandate.
So I'm going to leave it at, you believe that him misleading evidence leaders to engineer a postponement of another witness is justifiable if he's concerned about his own treatment.
That is not my comment, Chair, and that is not my belief. I'm merely directing the Commissioner to say that in that same paragraph, he gives an explanation to say that he was concerned about the Commission's treatment and its focus I'm mindful not to be found to say that his concern was correct about making mention of a meeting. I'm just merely emphasizing that he states that this is the reason he did it. It is not my opinion as to whether it is right or not.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So we are dealing with a witness who will say or do anything based on what he wants. It doesn't matter if that may be untrue. Effectively, that is what is happening here, or not? Yes. Do you agree with me? I think you must. You must.
Chair, in response to the question, firstly, I'll respond by saying it's improper.
Do you
And it's-
agree with the proposition I've put to you? I'm not asking about, that's not the question. The impropriety, if I am correct, is obvious, so that's not where I am. Do you agree with the proposition I put to you?
Can Chair repeat the proposition again?
I say, based on what the witness is saying here, we are dealing with a witness who will say or do anything, regardless of its truthfulness or lack of it, depending on what he wants under the circumstances. That's the sort of witness we are dealing with, based on what we read here. Do you agree? You must.
Chair, may I answer it in twofold, Chair? Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
And if Chair permits me, may I?
Can I ask my next question before
Yes,
you
Chair.
go there? You may go afterwards.
Yes, Chair.
So if that's the sort of witness we are dealing with here, what must we make of that in a broader scheme of things? And by that I mean with regard to this application. I'm not talking about Mr. Mogotsi's testimony with regard to the investigative process. What must we do with that, or what must we make of that in the context of this application?
Earlier during the proceedings, Chair made an example about a father and a child. And Chair said that a man of value, a staunch father, would know what he had uttered and why he didn't utter. And Chair will understand where I'm going with
I
that
don't.
example.
I
I'll
honestly
explain it so
don't.
that Chair
Okay,
understands.
Okay.
Chair, a child in a house who lives with very strict parents and he gets a good beating when he does something. Even if he hadn't done it, to avoid getting a good beating, he would simply say, yes, Dad, I did it. Now, why that example, Chair? We have Mr. Mogotsi, who, according to his papers, believe that if he doesn't deliver, as per the agreement, consequences are going to befall him. Now, if consequences befall him, there'll be adverse consequences. He then turns into this.
I'm not sure I follow that in the context of Mr. Mogotsi saying, I did this deliberately to encourage him to postpone Suleiman's testimony.
It's
So
to run
I don't see...
It's to run away, Chair, from the consequences. The consequences that he
So
fears.
basically you are explaining why he lied. Is that what you are saying?
Chair, in light of what is contained in the papers.
Are you explaining why he lied?
From what is in the papers, yes, Chair.
Yes. Now, that takes me back to my question, which is, so if we have a witness like that, what must we make of such a witness in the context of this application, this interlocutory application? That's my question.
Chair, that leaves the Commission with nothing other than to find on the credibility of the applicant.
Please, I think the 10 minutes is...
It has elapsed, Chair. Can I just see for a second, Chair, if there's any other thing
Yes.
I wanted to address?
All right, all right.
Just one aspect, oh, sorry, Chair, I apologize. I apologize, Chair.
Please continue, Ms. Mohammed.
Thank you, Chair. On just one aspect, the timing of the filing of the application. Chair, it's common cause that Mr. Mogotsi did not have attorneys from, I think, January of 2026. And according to the letters that were filed in the commission, my attorney only came on record, I believe it was during the Easter holidays. I do not recall the exact date. Now, from the time he came in to consulting and raising these issues, it still falls within a reasonable time.
On my reading, I don't remember reading that explanation in the affidavit. Is it there in the reply?
No, it's not in the replying affidavit. It's merely,
Should it not have been there? You know what judges will usually throw at counsel, which is, counsel are now testifying from the bar.
I'll retract that submission. I have
Indeed.
nothing further to say, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mohammed. Let's adjourn and resume at 2:30.